We've been trying for several weeks to get a response from Frontex on their presence in Greece, and we haven't gotten any type of response. I think there's a transparency issue with Frontex. I don't know if they're trying to hide something, not trying to hide something, if this is a question of incompetence, or if this is an issue of incompetence. But it's a very important issue because they have a reinforced budget for migration, but they feel like they are untouchable and not to be in contact with the press. And so I think that it would be easier to ask to get contact of and get information from anyone else than Frontex. So what are their transparency rules? Or what are their obligations to respond to the press? And do they have a true function in Greece? And what are they hiding in terms of their activities in Greece? Well, I don't think we're going to answer all of your questions at this point in time. We'll have to verify the situation. This is the first time I've heard of this difficulty. Albert, I don't know if you have further information in this area. We're not in a situation here where we want to have a detailed discussion on any allegations that Frontex may be hiding something. That's not really the debate. I think the issue at hand is access to information, and that's something that we'll check, and we'll come back to you on those issues to see if we can provide you with the information that you need. Now, from our point of view, and what I can tell you is that the European Coast Guard and Border Guard, i.e. Frontex, has a press representative, and the director last week of the agency held a briefing for the agency here in Brussels. And this was taken up in many media outlets. The spokesperson of the agency is available to be in touch with journalists, and I would be happy to put you in touch with her so that you can deal with her. But of course, this is an agency issue first and foremost. Practically, I just want to know if they have any instructions not to communicate, and this is a telephone issue. Now, we really deal with people who are on the ground, and on the operational level, we've never encountered such resistance and refusal to communicate. We're talking about people on the ground, the operational people, not the spokespersons, and not the people in the offices. So, we're dealing with two different realities, but we can go on the ground with anybody, talk to anybody, but this is not possible with Frontex. So it's a true problem at Frontex. So either they will accept journalists and we live up to all the security rules, or we can only speak with the spokesperson, which is tantamount to being more closed than any agency. So there's a real transparency issue, and what happened yesterday was propaganda. It was not responding to journalists, so we need to make sure that they can facilitate interviews on the ground. And, if we can't go and see what's happening on the ground, then they're not doing their job. So there is a problem. You need to solve it, because otherwise, you'll get official questions from the Parliament, and there will be real questions as to what's happening in Frontex. My question is, are there or are there not instructions at Frontex from the Commission to refuse any communication? I'm not talking about the spokesperson, but I'm talking about operational communication. Well, there are many elements to the questions you've raised, and I can't get into all of the details, but first of all, the agency does not necessarily receive instructions from the Commission. First and foremost, they have to answer to their management board, and that's just to clarify the issue. And certainly there were no instructions given by the Commission to the agency to limit any transparency that obviously is necessary to report the news. So this, Nicola, if I may, I know that we're at your service to try to facilitate your work and the work of your colleagues. To me, it seems that if you have the impression of encountering difficulties, be they one-off or structural, in terms of communication with an agency or a service, our door is open, our phones are on, you can contact us, and we will try to see if the facts are indeed true, and we will work with you to solve any difficulties. The press room is not the best suited place for us to solve these issues. Saying or asking, are there instructions to prohibit Frontex communicating with journalists, is something that seems incongruous to me. We're not here to block your work. We're here to facilitate your work. And of course, we have to respect any constraints that may exist on the ground. And obviously, Frontex may be facing operational problems on the ground, and maybe that's the source of the problem. But first of all, we need to be given the opportunity to discuss this with the Frontex services in order to understand what the nature of the issue is and how we can deal with it. So to continue the discussion on the margins of the press room, I suggest that we have bilateral discussion so we can see how we can follow up on this issue.
Yeah.
Right then. Are there any further questions on this issue? No? On another subject, sir?